Welcome back everybody to my last video of the year, my top 11 favorite albums of 2024. I'm going to try and get through this pretty quickly so I don't keep you guys here forever, so let's just start with number 11. But the world keeps spinning my head, keeps spinning and I get dizzy, I wanna get up. The world keeps spinning my head, keeps spinning and I can't take it, I wanna get up. At number 11 we have the album The Phantom 5 by AWOLNATION. In my opinion, AWOLNATION have zero misses in their discography. The Phantom 5 really sees Aaron Bruno and the rest of AWOLNATION really focusing in and kind of calling back to their old sound on Run and Megalithic Symphony. Aaron Bruno's vocals are just as harsh, but at the same time can be very clean and beautiful. You have the pounding and loud drums with the chaotic guitar and bass in the background. This is an AWOLNATION album through and through.
I'm not really quite myself. There's something missing. I'm just calling out for help, but no one's listening. All these thoughts are in my head, and I'm just hanging by a thread.
Coming in at number 10, we have the double album Heaven and Hell by Sum 41. So from my understanding, this is Sum 41's last album that they're ever going to do. Now this is a double album with the first half being titled Heaven and the second half being titled Hell. Sum 41 really dive into mental health, they dive into relationships, they dive into how much the world is changing. And on the first half of this album, Heaven, you kind of have this more positive outlook on how crappy situations can play out. Now the same cannot be said on the second half, Hell. Hell really dives into the pessimistic side of things. From the angry vocals that you can find on Hell to the more hopeful tunes that you can find on Heaven, this album is amazing from start to finish. It's 50 minutes. If you guys have the time, please check this album out because it's fantastic. Coming in at number 9, we have the album Meltdown by Twin Atlantic. There's a lot of self-reflection on this album too of like, okay, is this relationship actually bad for me? Or am I just self-sabotaging and trying to ruin a good thing? When you dive more into this album, the lyrics are really, really well written. And aside from that, very realistic in my opinion. The Twin Atlantic really give you the best of both worlds on this album as well. When you go to the more ballad-driven songs, they are beautiful and the lyrics are amazing. And then when you get to the more rock, up-tempo, chuggy guitars, chuggy drums, and the stronger and more aggressive vocal deliveries, those hit just as hard. And I'm going to continue to follow them on this ride because Meltdown is a fantastic album.
What do I
Coming in at number 8, we have the album American Motorsports by Bilmuri. American Motorsports can only really be described as like a heavy rock country album. This album has some of my favorite instrumentation on it by far. You can go from this country twangy sound to like this heavy metal breakdown, and a lot of people can find themselves going like, what the heck is this? What am I listening to? I also think that Bilmuri's writing on this album lyrically is very, very unique and very, very smart. Not to mention the features that he brings over onto this album were all fantastic. Coming in at number 7, we have the album Posthuman Next Gen by Bring Me the Horizon. I think Ollie Skies has one of the best vocals in metalcore right now. The way he can deliver his vocals so aggressively, so harshly, is just something not a lot of people in metalcore are doing, in my opinion. This album is really, really unique, and I have to say one of the things that I love about Bring Me the Horizon is they seem to be doing whatever the heck they want. Amazing album. Hard-hitting album. filled with a lot of personal moments on here as well. And I very much look forward to what Bring Me the Horizon is going to do in the future. Are we going to go more pop rock, or are we going back to like super heavy metalcore? Either way, I'm along for the ride.
I was taught to hate myself before anything else.
Coming in at number 6, we have the album Death is Little More by the band Boundaries. The second I finished this album, I drew a direct connection to the album Iowa by Slipknot. I do not know who hurt this man, but I genuinely hope somebody checked on him. When you dive deep into this album and look at the subject matter and the lyrics, it's absolutely heart-wrenching. This is an album about being hurt by somebody, about how you hate that person for hurting you. The lyrics on here are so angry and so sad that you just want to give this dude a hug. And that's the connection that I made to Iowa by Slipknot. Both very heavy albums, both extremely depressing. I will say that a really, really nice touch on this album is at the very end. The lead singer says, "I feel like a failure, but at least it's not every day, and I am getting better." Those are the last words spoken on the entire album. And this is an album that's going to stick with me for a long, long time. Very well recorded, very well written. Everything from start to finish is so heavy and just punches you in the gut and in the face. It is a complete onslaught. And if you can deal with metalcore and screamo music, you absolutely cannot miss out on this album.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't give it nobody's no sympathy. I'll take away the pain, I'll give you everything. I just wanna see when, wanna see if this world will matter.
Coming in at number 5, we have the album GNX by Kendrick Lamar. The production, the flow, the delivery, the lyrics, the Patrick, everything was phenomenal on this album. I love how animated Kendrick Lamar is in his music. Like when he's rapping, I'm not guessing, how is he feeling right now? You know exactly how he's feeling when he delivers his lines. I also love how focused this album is. It never loses sight of what it is. After absolutely cooking Drake, Kendrick Lamar sat down and cooked up this fantastic album. Coming in at number 4, we have the album The Mosaic by Capstan. I love the vocalist on this album. His delivery is impeccable from start to finish. This album throws rock riffs at you, it throws metalcore at you, it throws some ballads in there at you, it even throws some straight up pop music at you. Capstan's ability to blend all of this together into one fully functional album is extremely impressive. This straight up sounds like a passion project, and it was really, really refreshing to hear. Honestly, don't have much more to say about the album, but you should check this one out because it has some of my favorite music from the year on it. So coming in at number 3, it's from the legend himself. And it's just nice to see him on one of my year-end lists. It really is.
This is for him, Christopher MGK, Nickin' for Limp Bizkit and them midgets and Ben. Zeno in addition to him, Will Smith in the cannabis. If you're listening, this is the end. Okay, so to Jamal and Ja Rule and to all my feuds, including mine, I'm welcoming you to...
At number 3, we have The Death of Slim Shady by Eminem. I honestly would put this in my top 5 favorite Eminem albums of all time. This is the most focused Eminem has sounded to me in a long, long, long time. I like that Eminem honed in on one sound and stuck with it from start to finish. Eminem's lyrics, well, if you listen to Eminem, you know what his lyrics are, but in my opinion, very lyrically focused. I personally think he nails everything from start to finish with no skips in between. Eminem really looking inward on this album. For most of the album, you have young Eminem and old Eminem really going at it with each other saying, hey, why are you doing this? Well, it's because we used to do this. And it's really interesting to see him acknowledge his own growth over time. And the album is just incredible from start to finish. Coming in at number 2 is an album that took a little bit to grow on me. As time went on and I listened to it more and more, I came to love it more and more, which tends to be a theme with me and this band.
Pardon my delay. I'm navigating my head. This is so shit. I'm navigating my head. Give me some advice.
Coming in at number 2 is the album Clancy by 21 Pilots. Sorry, Caden. I don't want to forget to say this, so I'm going to say this right now at the beginning. Josh Dunn, that boy was drumming crazy on the entire album. And that ties into 21 Pilots putting out a really, really cool and unique album instrumentally on Clancy. Clancy sees 21 Pilots kind of going off into some things they'd never done before, looking at their song Lavish. This is another instance of 21 Pilots honing in on their sound, changing it up a little bit, but still staying true to who they are. I talked about Josh Dunn, but Tyler Joseph also delivers from start to finish on this whole album. There's a lot I like about 21 Pilots, but 2 things I want to highlight here is that there's only 2 people in the band, but they somehow make it seem grand, like there's 10 of them there. And I also like that they stay true to who they are and are still creating some of the most unique music in general. This album also shows 21 Pilots making some of the catchiest music that they've made to date. And I just have to say that Clancy was a very, very mature album, and I loved it. I've been doing year-end lists since 2012. And in that time, Weezer is the only band to have multiple albums find my number 1 spot. Well, that is until now.
Time was running out, but that don't matter now. We were meant to be forever in ancient history. Had to move away, 'cause something.
Coming in at my number 1 spot, we have the album Haven by Marianas Trench. This album is based off of the hero's journey. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with that, you can go look it up. Go Google the hero's journey and you'll see what it is. And to be honest with you, Marianas Trench is the perfect band to tackle the hero's journey. Haven does such a good job of storytelling from the second you first hear it to the final belting note that Joshua Ramsey delivers on the last track. Haven is just so grand in scale. It's just so hard for me to wrap my head around what's happening all at once. Josh Ramsey is able to put his personal struggles, his personal experiences into a concept album so flawlessly that it's almost scary. It's not a surprise that Marianas Trench made an anthemic album, but what is a surprise is how they're constantly able to outdo themselves, and I honestly don't know how they do it. And Josh Ramsey vocally is just unbelievable. Let it be known that the other band members here are doing a fantastic job as well. They keep things crisp, they keep things clean, they keep things fun. I have listened to Haven so many times this year, and each time I get goosebumps just listening to it. And because of all of that, Haven is at my number 1 spot. Thank you everybody for watching. I really do appreciate those who do watch. I know it's not a lot of you, but shout out to those of you who do. And I will see you all at the end of 2025.